Hi, welcome to Framelines. Josh here, coming to you from a very cold London. Today I wanted to talk about scanning film. Specifically, I wanted to revisit a video I made a few months ago about scanning film with a Plustek scanner over a flatbed scanner. I bought that scanner and was so impressed by it versus how I was previously scanning film with a flatbed that I wanted to make a video about it. I think some people found it helpful, but I did get quite a lot of comments from people, some constructive, some not so constructive or polite, but that's YouTube, I guess. But I thought since I've been using it a lot more since then, I would revisit my new process for using the scanner and specifically look at Cinestill 800t. Cinestill 800t is repackaged Kodak Vision 500t for the more kind of general photographer, as it were. I've been using it on and off for maybe 4 or 5 years. I believe the T stands for 10,000 likes, I'm pretty sure. It is extremely expensive. The price has skyrocketed over the last few years. I think there's definitely a bit of a trendy element to it. Unfortunately, I do find myself taking pictures when I'm using Cinestill film that I maybe wouldn't normally take, simply because I kind of want to see what it looks like, the way it renders scenes in the kind of cinematic way, and it kind of blows out the highlights and the light sources giving this nice red glow. It definitely makes you kind of more conscious about maybe trying to find a more cinematic scene that you may have otherwise just kind of overlooked because you aren't using Cinestill. That's for me, at least. People may disagree. So yeah, I initially filmed a video about the Plustek a few months ago and wanted to revisit, so I'm going to be using the Plustek scanner, the 8200i. I'm going to be using the SilverFast software that comes bundled with the scanner. I'm going to be using Adobe Lightroom, and I'm also going to be using the Negative Lab Pro plugin for Adobe Lightroom. So a few different kind of processes and pieces of software there. Probably does sound quite complicated, but I think it is quite straightforward when you get into it. So yeah. Here's me having another go at scanning with the Plustek and Cinestill 800t film specifically. I'm much happier with the results I've been getting. See what you think, and drop me any comments or questions down below. So I've opened SilverFast 8.8 Plustek Optifilm 8200i. So this is the SilverFast software that came bundled with the scanner. I believe it's compatible with quite a few different scanners. You have to download different versions for different scanners. So what I'm going to do is just simply do a raw scan of the negative itself. I'm not going to do any conversion in SilverFast. I'm going to do all of that in Adobe Lightroom. So to set it up, I've got it set to transparency. I'm going to set it to positive. I'm going to set it to 48-bit HDR RAW. I'm just going to name the file something for this video and set the file format to DNG, so it's a RAW file. Just going to set it to go to a folder on my desktop. I'm going to leave the photo quality as it is. I've bumped the resolution up to 2400 ppi, which is going to generate a 43 megabyte raw file, which is probably overkill, but since I have the option, why not? And yeah, I'm not actually going to do anything else with it, so just simply doing a very simple raw scan of the negative itself, as you can see here, and then I'm just going to hit scan. And that's gonna get cracking. It's surprisingly quick, you can see it moving along there. So I'm gonna scan about 3 or 4 negatives in this same method, and then I'll drop them into Lightroom and we'll convert them with Negative Lab Pro. So I've now dropped the raw files into Adobe Lightroom. You can see they look the same as they did in SilverFast, so literally just a raw scan of the negative. You can see they are actually, you can adjust the exposure and everything like you could a normal raw file. I'm not going to do that though. So the first step is to go into the develop tab like I've done here. I'm going to get the white balance picker and just choose a light area on the edge of the frame and click. So you can see that kind of inverts it like you would expect. And then I'm going to hit Control N, which is a shortcut for the Negative Lab Pro plugin. I'll leave a link to Negative Lab Pro below if anybody else wants to try it. And that's going to bring up this screen. I've never actually changed any of these. I usually just leave it as it is. I've been quite happy with it. So I'm going to hit Convert Negatives. Takes a second. What's it doing? Ah, here we go. So this is the kind of default setting right off the bat. It looks okay. It's maybe a bit cool. In this section here, the white balance section, they have almost like a selection of presets for the white balance. And you can see they have actually added one for Cinestill 800t. So I'll select that. And that immediately looks quite a lot better already. Yeah, it's warmed it up. Quite nice colours. What I might do is just bring out the darks a bit, because I can always add contrast back later on. But I was using, I think, a Voigtlander 1.4 lens shot at 1.4, so you can see there was a bit of a vignette going on here. So I'm going to leave that as it is. There's the sharpening settings here, which I always leave on lab. Like, I don't know, why is it called lab? Like a laboratory? Like a kind of, I don't know. See the difference between them? I literally can't tell a difference. Oh no, there is a bit of a difference. Look at that. Okay, I'll leave it on that. And I always check the make TIFF copy so I can edit the TIFF afterwards, because the raw file is going to be inverted. Quite tricky to amend that, so this will actually kind of create a whole new TIFF file which you can edit the color on. But this seems like quite a nice flat option to start with, so I'm going to hit apply. And then I'm going to move on to another one which I've scanned in, which is a picture from Winter Wonderland in 2017, I think. So I'm going to follow the same process. Pick the light color on the side. It's going to invert it with the white balance. I'm going to hit Control N, convert the negatives. So this looks like it does need a bit more work actually, so I'm going to hit Cine T again. I might just bring the exposure up just a little bit, as you can see there, because it does look a bit darker, and also bring the darks out so I can see a bit more of the shadow detail. It does look a bit green actually, so I might correct this a bit and also warm it up a bit more. This is just like to taste really. To my own personal taste, but I think that looks a bit better. Sharpening. The detail you can get on this versus a flatbed always blows my mind. Like this, on my previous scans of this from a flatbed scanner, you couldn't see his fingers at all. It was all quite blurry. So yeah, pretty happy with how that looks, just with a couple of tweaks actually. So yeah, I'm gonna hit go on that one as well. And then here's one last one I thought I would drop in there as well, from the South Bank a few years ago. So same process, Control N, convert the negatives. So yeah, that already looks pretty good, to be honest with you. Again, you can see pretty crazy vignette going on from that lens I was using, but I kind of like it. Set that to Cine T. Oh yeah. It doesn't really need much doing to it at all, I don't think. I might just, again, bring the darks up a bit just to kind of counter that vignette. Yeah, pretty happy with that right off the bat. So yeah, that takes a second to convert, and then, yeah, so I've got these three files. And I have a TIFF of them, which I can now edit. So it kind of, in Adobe Lightroom, it stacks them, so you can unstack. Okay, so this is the TIFF. So what I might do is just bring up the saturation just a little bit. Straighten it out, maybe crop in just a touch. Probably just bring the highlights down a little bit, maybe take the shadows up, and correct this. Hair, which seems to have gotten in the scanner. Lovely. Oh, pretty bad at this. Let's try that. Shocking. Shocking. I'll redo that better at some point, and then there's obviously quite a bit of dust in the corners, but overall, yeah, I mean, you can edit this TIFF if you want to, how you see fit, I guess, but maybe sharpen it up a bit more if you want to. Yeah, but overall, doesn't need a huge amount of work. I'm pretty happy with how that's come out. Let's have a look at the funfair shot as well. So yeah, let's crop that in a little bit. Again, I might just bump up the saturation. Oh, too much. No, that's all right. Might just bring the highlights down a bit. Shadows up. Again, yeah, pretty happy with how that one's come out too. And then I'll just quickly. This one I don't think needs much work at all, to be honest with you. Again, just do a little bit of a crop. Maybe straighten it out. A little bit of saturation. There is a bit of a kind of greeny tint on this. I might try and correct that. Yeah, and I might actually take the highlights down a little bit as well. And again, get rid of all the general dust and bits and pieces. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, quite happy with that. So this one, and this one. So it is a bit of a manual process, but I'm just much happier with the results that you can get from the Plustek and that Negative Lab Pro plugin over what I was previously doing. Obviously these are really old negatives that I've stored pretty badly, so they're just covered in crap, but it doesn't really bother me very much. But yeah, that's my new process for scanning Cinestill, and hoping to get out and actually shoot some Cinestill again sometime soon. So yeah, that's my new process for scanning Cinestill. I'm much happier with the results. Any questions, give me a shout, and thanks for watching along.